G'day traders, this is John from Crypto Candlestick Trading, just looking at the crypto market. And starting with Bitcoin, here I've got the weekly chart on the left and the daily chart on the right, and just looking at where we're at from here. And just going along the tops here, I just want to see if I can see any sort of a trend line or resistance line or something that I can see. Actually, I'll just blow this up. What I want to do is get a few trend lines on here first, and we'll just do the weekly chart to start with. And there was one major one. Actually, I'll just get rid of all that stuff. 29 drawings. It's always good to get rid of your drawings and start again. All right, let's have a look at the trend line. So we'll just start from here and see if we can match anything up to it, if that was the low point there. And yep, that's looking pretty, yep, that's the real deal from there. So we can see we've had support, support all the way here. And now, but we've broken off, bounced off, on the support, and we've got pretty good volume, but it's just pretty good volume. It's not like excellent volume. And this isn't the sort of volume that we're looking at for a breakout volume. Like this sort of volume back here is like breakout volume. We can see it here. It's trying. It's well above the selling volume. And here we can see a nice decline where even though it broken new highs, this is around about where we look like we're at today. But the only problem is that, this to me, is it accumulation or is it distribution where we're at now? And, I'm actually seeing that, the volume here is on the decline. We've got bigger volume, and smaller again volume. And, I know this week hasn't finished, but we've got a big candle, a medium candle, and a small candle. Now I know that's that kind of goes in sync with it. It's not backwards or anything. So it just means that there's not as many people buying in at these highs here. We can see that it's reflected in the candles there. And so here on the weekly chart, this is where the big money is watching. And so looking at this here, we're not very far away, 24.5. Well, let's get a true figure on that one there on the 200. This is the figure here that I'm looking at, the 200. And on this candle here, so the 200 there is 24,750. So 24,750, we're 23, it's only $1,700 away. And then let's have a look at the 50 moving average. We'll look at this one here. And that is at 25.6. So we've got 25.6, which is the 50. So this could quite easily have a pop up to 25, 25,500. So that's three. That's a 10% pop. It could quite easily have a 10% pop and then a potential pullback. But, what I'll be looking for from here, if it actually does something, is I'll be expecting some sort of a breakout above if we're going to do that, and then a pull back to find support, and then we'll take off from there. So if that was the case, I'd be looking for entries in around here, and I'd also probably be looking for entries in around here depending on how they look like. But I would rather go for these ones here. But we'll just see how they look. Oh, I lost my trend line. Actually, we'll go back on that. There we go. So I'll get rid of my drawing. So yeah, that's kind of Bitcoin. We can kind of see, around about what it's like and where it's at. And I'll just do a few more lines here. What's that? It seemed to, this exuberance here, and then it pulled back into here. It seemed to have found support on that area there. And it's kind of coincides with the uptrending line there. But what's going to happen after it? There's a lot of stuff up here. Could we get a pop up to the top here? This support line here. Yes, we could. We definitely could. But this sort of stuff here, I'm waiting for a real move, either to the south side or to the north side. If it goes to the south side, we could probably do something with that. But we'll just have to have a look at it and play it by ear when we get there at this stage. So here's the daily chart that we're looking at, the same thing here. And I do like this daily chart, to be honest. It's come down massive big selling here. We can tell that there's big interest here, and then gone up. Then we'll pull back again, and we can see that there's accumulation here, massive accumulation in these declines here. That's the same big block selling that happened here. So as big money were driving this down, and mums and dads were going, please get me out of here, get me out at any cost. Anyway, so they were getting out down here. Then they had another run for it down here. But, we can see there was a little bit more accumulation. And we can see here that there is accumulation here, and there's still accumulation here on the daily chart. On the weekly chart, it doesn't look the same. But here we've got overbought conditions, massively overbought conditions here in the relative strength index and the stochastics. So, have we? And also another thing we can see here is that low, high, high, low, high, low, high, high, etc. as we go. So we've got wicks at the top, and wicks at the top there. So here we've got wicks at the top again at this same kind of congestion sort of area. So it'll be interesting to see where we go with that. But there's a few I've noticed that while Bitcoin's hanging around in this kind of area, there's a few of the others. I'll just get these on a double so we can kind of go through a little bit faster without having to go through chart by chart. So there's the daily chart. I'll just change this to weekly chart actually. So here's the weekly chart, and let's have a look and see what we've got there with the weekly. Yep, I can see something there. So this is the weekly chart, as I just said, and I'm just looking at that doji there, and I want to put a line at the middle of that doji there, that cross. And so here we've got support, breakthrough support, resistance, shooting star, come up, resistance again. And now we've come up and got resistance at exactly the same price that we've had it there before. And clearly we can see that we're in a downtrend on this one here, but is it reversing? Here we can see like there's a head, left shoulder, head, right shoulder, and then the decline. And I was actually in there shorting and read about up these highs here. And so this is the same sort of an entry, like to be going short. As we can see, like this market is still pushing lower. It's got, a high, low, lower high, lower low, and we're still here at a lower high. And here we are at the 200, the 200 on the daily. Now, if we have a look at this, a massive big push, and then 30% of people, or more than that, probably 40% of people sold out. Dojis, nice big push, and it's got the same again. Another, 30-40% of people sold out in this one. Then we've got an engulfing the very next day that takes us back under the 200. Now we've got a second engulfing that's brought us back to the 200. But we can see there's declining volume here, so there's not major selling happening. If there was major selling happening, we'd be closing below these things now. So we can see here that there's less people want to sell at these prices up here because we can see the decline there. And also the same here on the weekly chart. So this could have a pop. And here we're oversold on both of these. So, could it be a pop to the 50 or could it be, pop to the downside? And the way we, get in and have a look at that is by doing the, I'll just change this back to the, the sort of, I've kind of had this on my charts for a bit now, and I don't mind it. So we've got the weekly, the daily, the 4 hour, and the 1 hour. So top left, weekly, and the daily, bottom left. And then so over here on the right hand side on the top, we've got the 4 hour chart, and then the 1 hour chart down below. So I just kind of been playing with these. If I see resistance here, I'm looking for a reversal to close below, engulfing closing below here, or something like that. The same again with this one here with dot. Let's have a look at Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, Bitcoin looks okay. That's about it that I'm seeing with Bitcoin. So, and we can see along here, we've got just sideways sort of movement, and have a look here on the 4 hour chart. So this is with Bitcoin here at these levels, and so we've come up here, we're getting engulfing, and then we've got lots and lots of indecision engulfing, and then we've got like a shooting star, which say 60-70% of people sold out, and then we've got an engulfing to the north side, engulfing to the north side. So here we are, it's quite indecisive, and we do have some nice volume popping going on there, but we can see that the sellers are still here consistently selling. This here, we can't be trading it. We have to wait and see what is going to happen over these bigger time frames before we can actually get in and do something. So now having a quick look at dot. Here, engulfing, closing below the 9 on the 1 hour chart. On the 200 on the 1 hour chart. And here is that same again, support, resistance again, and we've got resistance at the... So anyway, if I see more and more resistance happening and then engulfing eventually, nice solid closing candle below here on the hourly chart, I'll probably take it. I'm actually, I don't know which way the market's going to go, but I will be looking at trading it. And but if it goes north, I'll be hesitant. If it goes south, I'll be in. Simply because it's showing, the easiest way for this to go is the south side at this stage here that I'm seeing anyway, until it proves me wrong. That can happen in a day. All right, so and that's us there on. There's two other currencies that I want to have a look at as well. So here, this is kind of like the same sort of thing again. Have a look at that. Here, let's have a look at this on the weekly chart. This is why it's so important to check out the weekly chart, the higher time frames. So we've got support, again, breaking through support, resistance, and now we've got resistance. So look at that. As I know it's Sunday, but let's have a look at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning to see where this closes at. If that closes here, we've still got the sellers definitely in play. Because we can see here that, if the buyers were in play, we would have beaten this line here, this result here. And we can see the long wicks, look at that, man. And we're getting engulfing full-blooded closing with the daily. Yeah, it's not looking all that, it looks really good and crash, like all that sort of stuff, but it's just not that crash hot. There's some of the cryptos have gone up, like 80% and stuff like that, which is really good. And some have even gone up 100% that I've seen. But looking at the entries down the lows, like we would have been taking some very risky entries down at the lows in order to get into these rides. But like where we're at now, I actually found it a little bit too risky. There was no real entry with Bitcoin. Let's just go and have a very quick look at Bitcoin. And just looking at these lows down here. So I'm going to change this to a daily, and then we'll have a better look. So here we are on the daily chart, just having a look at Bitcoin. So here we are coming out of these lows. So we've got a massive decline. This is big selling. We know that here there's accumulation, which is good. We can see that. And then we've got a decline, which, usually there's no selling in these declines, when we see, things start to, decline like this in the volume. And then, a little bit of a pop and a takeoff here. But then big sellers came in and wanted to bring it down one last time. So we can see that, this was driven down by big money. And who was down here with the open checkbook? Big money. So they drove it down here and to get all the mums and dads out of the game, and then so they could start buying down the bottom here in these lows on this support line here. So, but we've gone up, and then I was actually looking at shorting here, and then we've come down, and let's just have a really close look at this thing here. So this is the daily chart where we've come down under here. We can kind of see that there is volume accumulation for sure. We can see that. Here we've got a hammer at that line, perfect. There's good, that's reversal. And here we've got a doji. Sorry, not a doji, an engulfing. So straight after a hammer, we've got an engulfing, and then here we've got a nice doji closing above the 3 moving averages now, and then we've got a little red candle, and this candle here is like an indecisive engulfing candle. So this here to me was no entry. I didn't see that as an entry. However, I do like the volume. This sort of volume here is. It basically says that big money is here and they're in the game. And we can see here by this lack of volume here, we've got, we've got a decline in selling volume at the last, and then we've got increasing green volume here, but not much candle representation to go with it. Then we've got a declining green here, but it's a bigger candle. So this is kind of a little bit confusing, and here we've got a bigger candle, which should have been the breakout candle. Now, this candle here is supposed to be a full body candle, or very close to it, and this is nowhere near it. But then, it doesn't, this follow through day here, the one that follows through after all this is, come into play. This one here, it doesn't have to be the first day. So we've had like 4 days of green, a small day of red, and then this, first day after that, doesn't have to be, that very next day. It can be 1 or 2 days after. So I would have counted it as this day here. But then we got another problem. Where's the volume? So here, it was a very scrappy sort of an entry anyway, which I wouldn't have taken. Just looking at it realistically, it just, yeah, well, we are going to miss runs like this, and this is one of those ones that we've missed. And but is there an entry there? Like if you go back and have a look at your charts and the training and stuff, there's no entry here that I can see anyway. This is still scrappy trading, and the reason why it's scrappy trading, I believe, is because the decline's not finished yet. We're still in a declining stage. But then again, it doesn't matter what I think; it matters what the charts say. So at this stage here, we have gone up, we've hit resistance, and we'll see what happens from there. But looking at this on the, I'll just change this to another chart because I did actually see it was reversal on the weekly chart. I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah, this here massive decline, indecisive, massive increase. So this basically negates everything that the sellers did here, and they achieved so much selling here. But now the buyers came in with one foul swoop and just turned everything around. And then now we've got smaller candles coming up to resistance. So all right, anyway, traders, I'll leave it at that. We can kind of see what's going on. And at this stage here, I'm not really going into anything. I don't want to buy anything at this stage here. If I do see reversals up here to the south side, I'll be taking them. And that's pretty much across the board. I want to see volume here come in for real. And on the weekly chart, I would rather be making, especially in these lows, decisions from the weekly chart. I want confluence from the weekly chart because that's where the big money is. And so far on the weekly chart, it doesn't look like the big money's buying up yet. All right, traders, I'll leave it at that. 14 minutes in. I hope you have a good weekend. And if you have any questions with your charts, please let me know. I'll talk to you again soon. See you.